Well, this is a cool event. So let me share one thing. Going into my senior year of high school, I had a GPA that may have been a little lower than you guys. My GPA was a 1.8, and if you're doing the math, that is 32 C's and D's, and may or may not have been 2 F's, which may or may not have been in algebra and psychology. My first day of my senior year, my high school counselor calls me into her office, Margaret Whitworth. And Margaret says, "Hey, Kevin, where would you like to go to college?" I said, "All right, Margaret, I'll play this game." And I said, "There are 3 schools that I'm intensely interested in." And her eyes got really big. She's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, what schools are they?" And so, all right. USC, because I love the football team. Yale, and with a straight face, I can't even do a straight face, with a straight face, I said, "Harvard." And she said, okay, I'll be back in a second. And she came back, and she, for the first 2.5 hours of my senior year, she spent walking through these schools and what it would take to get there. And she never said, it was not like a Tony Robbins talk, like, here's some coals, walk across them and you're there. It was, hey, the road's going to be really long and windy. And you haven't exactly proven yourself the first 11 years, but that can be different. And then I get to college, and I meet my wife. And my wife came to Whitworth on a presidential scholarship. I came on academic probation. And we're walking around the loop, and I'm desperately looking for common ground. I'm like, this girl's so cute. I got to find something we have in common. And she's telling me how she came to Whitworth. And then she made this comment. She said, "Yeah, all through high school, I had only 1 B." I said, "Me too." And I look back at that moment, and I'm so glad Margaret Whitworth sat down with me for 2 hours, because she saw something in me I didn't see in myself. And you know, we have so many definitions about leadership, and if you think about it fundamentally, it's a couple things. One of it, it's really hard, and there's a lot of sacrifice. And you guys understand that probably more than anyone in our society. The other aspect is that it's really beautiful, and we're entrusted with something. And what we're entrusted with are people's lives. And I wonder if one of the greatest things we can give is to see something in someone that they don't see in themselves. Especially at a moment when they really need to know someone believes in them. When I was working for Young Life, the day that I was at Columbine, there's some pretty amazing stories that came out of there of what kids did, what teachers did, that saved a lot of lives. And one of the more scintillating stories is a kid named Evan who was in the library. And that day in the library, 18 years ago yesterday, that's where most of the kids lost their lives. That's where the gunman came in and did most of their damage. After the gunman had left, and a lot of lives had been taken, there was a kid, an all-state wrestler named Evan. Evan was a big kid, like, 6'2", solid muscle, a lot like me. And Evan, he had shrapnel on his back, and he lifts up his head after all the chaos and all the carnage, and he sees a door. And he says, he thinks to himself, I can get out. I'm alive. And so Evan starts to get up. And then as he gets up, out of the corner of his eye, he sees a kid who had severe cerebral palsy named Mike Kitchen. And Evan's faced with this decision of, there's the door, I can literally make a run for it. And there's Mike. And so Evan starts to make his way up, and then Mike is still there. And Mike's limp was so pronounced that he could not go very fast at all. And then Evan, showing amazing sacrifice, an amazing perception and perspective, goes back and literally picks up Mike and carries him out of the school. And I think about that. And part of what's so hard about leadership is that we have gifts that other people need, and usually that requires sacrifice on our part. What if leadership isn't a noun? What if it's not a person? Or what if it's an action? What if it's a verb? What if it's something we sometimes do? And in our lives, whether while we're enlisted in the Air Force or years later, there's always going to be someone that's looking. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to go pick them up. It's going to be highly inconvenient, and it might be very scary depending on the circumstance. But if we don't go back and pick up the guys who are looking, what if nobody else does either? Think about your life. If I were to ask you to name the 3 most important people in your life, I would bet a lot of money, I would bet your budget that those 3 people came into your life at a hard time. You have a lot of challenges. I would make the argument you have more challenges than civilians in a lot of ways. And there's always people that are with you. And some of them are among you, and some of them are outside these gates. But in any case, if we don't go back to those that are looking, someone may not either. And then what? One of my favorite authors is a guy that most people think is boring, and is a guy named Henry David Thoreau. Well, I've got one fan of it. That's good. Most people look at Thoreau and say he's a boring existentialist, and they may be right to some degree, but then he says something really inspiring every now and then. And one of the things that he says in Walden is that we as children have the chance to begin again. And I love that thought. That when I had a 1.8, I had the chance to begin again. I needed to be nudged by my high school counselor, but I had a chance to begin again. After the Twin Towers fell, the president was scheduled to throw out the first pitch. Not coincidentally, would be at Yankee Stadium. Yankees were playing the Diamondbacks and was scheduled for Game 3. And you can Google this, and it's kind of hilarious in one sense, because the motorcade pulls up to Yankee Stadium. You can see the president getting out, and he's warming up his arm from the limo to walking up to the stadium. And then he gets into the stadium, and the story goes that he was warming up in the basement of the stadium to really make sure he threw a good pitch. And then the game draws closer. Obviously, Secret Service is on there. They're not feeling great about this, given all baseball parks, Yankee Stadium. And he comes up to the dugout, and he's waiting to be announced for the field. And if you were watching that game, you would remember the blinding flashbulbs of when he took the mound, it was different than any president before or after that's ever taken the mound of the ball game. But as he's in the dugout looking at the field, Derek Jeter comes up to him, captain of the Yankees. And he says, and the president admittedly said that he thought Jeter was going to come up and tell him how great it is and how meaningful it is that the president of the United States was here to throw out a pitch under all circumstances, under all stadiums, this day that would be so significant. And so Jeter comes up, and the president's thinking, he's really going to tell me how great I am. Jeter, as he approaches him, says, "Hey, Mr. President, when you get up and throw out the first pitch, don't stand in front of the mound, which is customary, but stand on the mound. Because at Yankee Stadium, we don't stand in front of the mound." Think of that metaphor for a second. So many celebrities, and I would do the same thing, at Yankee Stadium, would stand in front of the mound, and why? Because they don't want to throw the ball in the dirt. The mound's a scary place. It's up a little higher. You're even more visible. You're a little further away. And the stakes are a little bit higher. Thoreau also says most men, he should have said people, most people lead quiet lives of desperation. And I wonder if some of that has to do with that on a daily basis. Think how many times we have the opportunity to stand on the mound. But if you're anything like me, sometimes we stand in front of the mound too much because it's a little safer. But we would live life differently if we lived from the mound, not in front. And then Jeter goes on, and he said, "Hey, Mr. President, tonight when you throw out the first pitch, don't lob it in as most of the people do. Give them your fastball." And he said, "America needs your fastball." Stephen Covey has a concept called private victory and public victory. And private victory is all those things we do when the spotlight's not on us, we're doing to train and prepare. It's the hard stuff. It's like the boxer who gets into the ring. You know, when you see the big Friday night fight, the boxer steps in the ring, totally chiseled. But we didn't see that boxer getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning and running when it's 30 degrees out, or if it was Spokane, 10 degrees out. And how hard it was, and how thirsty, and the rigid diet. That's the prime victory. That's what's so important. What we do when no one's looking is more important than what we do when people are looking, because we will live life differently if we say, I want to prepare that private victory, because when the spotlight's on me, I'm going to be prepared. And what Jeter was telling him, don't just lob it in. Throw the fastball. All that stuff we do, all that training, all that hard work, all that studying is prepared so we can throw the fastball when our moment comes, because our moment will come. And then he says one more thing. He says, Mr. President, tonight you're not throwing out a pitch for the New York Yankees. You're throwing out a pitch for the United States of America. So throw a strike. And then Jeter turns and starts to walk away and looks over his shoulder and says, oh, one last thing. Don't throw it in the dirt because these fans will boo you off the field. Every day we have the choice if we're going to stand on the mound or in front of the mound. Every day we have the choice if we're going to lob it in or if we're going to throw a fastball. And every day we have the choice if it's about us or if it's about something a lot bigger. Ironically, I do some teaching at the school I came in at on academic probation. And one of the things I always say at the end of the year is, especially as seniors are getting ready to graduate, if you came here because you want a degree, because you think you're going to be better, and you think you're going to make more money, you came for the wrong reason. And you're not going to represent this institution well. But if you came because you wanted a degree, because you wanted to be in position to make a contribution, you came for the right reason. When they were doing the Declaration of Independence, it went through 80-ish revisions. Jefferson was one of the major writers, but they really got hung up on one sentence. And it's a famous sentence, and it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Happiness was hotly debated. Some wanted it to be property. Some wanted to be, there were all sorts of words that kept going. They kept having these acrimonious arguments or yelling at each other. It wasn't like this civilized discussion. These guys were they were going at each other behind closed doors. It was a huge debate. They decided to go with happiness, and they were quoting a document called they were quoting the Scottish Enlightenment. Happiness, translated from the original tense to today, means contribution. These are important documents for this crowd, right? And what the founding fathers were telling us is that our life is about a contribution. It's not about us, because we're not throwing out a pitch for the Newberg Yankees. We're throwing out a pitch for the United States of America. And we all have a contribution to make. And that contribution is seeing something in someone they don't see in themselves. That contribution is we throw from the mound. That contribution is we practice in private so we can throw the fastball in public. That contribution is that we have more to give than we realize. The gifts, the pain, the setbacks and failure that we sometimes don't embrace are maybe the very gifts that we have to give others. One of my favorite professors ever, named Marty Minsky, says it's not our successes what we should always share. It's our failure and it's our setbacks. That's where the sacrifice. That's where the deepest learning is. So in short, don't forget to look for the kid who's learning. And don't ever forget you have more to give than you can possibly realize. Thanks so much.